Hey there, this is Coach Austin Hardy, and in this video, I'm going to be teaching you the top 5 best serves that you need in your pickleball game. Be sure to stick around till the end of the video because these serves are in order from effective to most effective. You don't want to miss it. By the way, if you want the best training partner in pickleball, you can go to pickleballdrallsapp.com and access hundreds of different drills taught by professional pickleball players to help you level up your pickleball game faster than you ever thought possible. Let's open the playbook. This video is sponsored by Future, the world's leading personal training app. When I first signed up, I answered a few quick questions about my goals and my schedule. Then I got to choose a coach who specifically fit my style. I went with Jake, and right away we hopped on an intro call. What stood out to me right away was how comfortable it was for me to talk about my goals. There was no judgment coming from Jake and no rigid rules that we had to follow. And very quickly, Jake built a plan that fit my life perfectly. The app itself is super sleek, motivating, and way better than just your typical cookie cutter program because it's a real coach tailoring everything specifically to me. And the real kicker is that I get all the benefits of a real personal trainer. Accountability, daily communication, and completely personalized workouts at just a fraction of the cost of in-person training. Plus, I can work out anywhere, whether that's at home, at the gym, or while I'm even on vacation. Future is giving you your first month free. That is $200 of training at absolutely no cost. And this is just for my audience. So if you've been waiting for your sign to get the best body that you've ever had, this is it. So click the link at the top of the description and let's get stronger, feel healthier, and look better together. Thanks again to Future for sponsoring this video. Let's talk about the first serve that's really effective that you can throw in every once in a while, the lob serve. And this is one that's really overlooked by people and that people aren't practicing, but they should be practicing it because it gives you an automatic advantage right off the get-go. This is what the lob serve looks like. I'm simply coming up, lobbing that serve, and then it's bouncing high. The entire point of the lob serve is to keep our opponents back and automatically take advantage of the point. And the way that that's happening is because in every single racket sport, there is a strike zone. A zone that when people hit inside of it, it feels extremely comfortable for them. So if you can take the ball out of that zone, they're gonna be really uncomfortable in hitting awkward shots where they won't only just hit you a short ball that you can then take instant advantage on the third shot of the rally, but also they'll make common return mistakes and just in general hit the ball out. So the strike zone in pickleball is in between knee level and belly button level. And so if you can get the ball either low down here or high up here, most especially since it's at the shoulder area, it's really awkward for your opponents. And that's why this serve is so brilliant. And one of the best parts about this serve is that you can't really overuse it, but I would say that it's way more of a change-up serve because there are more effective serves out there. So I'll preface this by saying, use it as a change-up, don't use it all the time, but at the same time, you can't overuse it. So now let's break down how we hit the lob serve. We're gonna start by using an Eastern forehand grip. You can use whichever grip is your preference. I personally like the Eastern forehand grip because it gives me just enough spin on the ball to be able to get the ball back down into the court without having to change my motion. So I'm gonna teach you the Eastern forehand grip really briefly. What you're gonna be doing is aligning this inside of your index knuckle right here, drawing a line directly to the corner of your palm. And you're gonna be aligning that exact line here with the third bevel on your paddle. So you're gonna turn your paddle just like this on its butt cap. We have bevel number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It makes a stop sign shape. You're gonna be moving over 3 bevels. So we have 1, 2, that little half bevel, 3. And on that third bevel, it comes all the way up here. We're aligning the inside of our index knuckle and the bottom corner of our palm. So it's as simple as that. Make sure that you are aligning here to here as if you were to draw a line with that third bevel. After that, let's talk about the actual motion. So a lot of people will question this serve and say, oh, it's not legal, because sometimes people are making contact way up here in order to get that lob going. So make sure that you're making contact below your belly button. So now that we're in this position, I'm going to put the ball directly out in front of me with a straight arm and also directly to the side of me because I want it in my strike zone where I can fully extend through the shot. If instead I put it more out in front of me, well, now I'm choked inside here. I'm not gonna be able to get as much extension. It's not gonna be a consistent shot. So not only fully extended in front, but we're also coming over to the side as if we were to draw a line from our front knee directly to the ball. I'm then coming underneath the ball and hitting the bottom side of the ball as I brush upwards. So I'm hitting the bottom side of the ball and I'm instantly brushing Upwards, I want to act like there's actual hair fibers on the ball, and I'm brushing the hair of the ball as I make contact from outwards and upwards. So I'm brushing underneath the ball, and notice where I'm finishing. I'm finishing still on my dominant side. I'm not finishing over this shoulder. And the reason that I'm finishing on my dominant side is because I'm creating tons of topspin and upwards motion in order to get this ball to go way up into the sky. And so all this motion is an outwards and upwards motion where we finish on the same exact side of our body with our paddle face upwards, and we're hitting the bottom side of that ball. So again, I start low, outwards and upwards, and then I'm creating that brush up the ball. Serve number 2 is the banana serve. This is a much more difficult serve to achieve in comparison to the lob serve. The lob serve is just simply that outwards and upwards motion as we keep an open paddle face. This serve is a lot more intricate, but again, we're using that same exact grip that we talked about in the previous serve. The banana serve looks like this. So I'm cutting up the outside of the ball in order to create a banana so that it is spinning in that direction. And so if you picture an actual banana, it's spinning off and going not necessarily where it is bouncing. So your opponents see it bounce and then it kicks off towards the side. So again, this is another one of those that's a great change-up serve. This is one that I would urge you to not use over and over and over again, because then it becomes really easy to return. But if you use it as a change-up, people won't see it coming. And by the way, with this specific serve, you can also hold a continental grip where your paddle is straight up and down as well in order to create more spin if needed. I personally just hold an Eastern grip like how I said before. So the way that this serve works, it's the same exact ball placement as the lob serve. I'm going to reach out as far as I can and then put it in alignment with that front knee. And then I'm going to, instead of dropping the ball from here, I'm going to drop it directly out of my hands from this low position so that I can really hit up into it and get around the ball. Whereas if I try to get around the ball from up here, not only is that illegal, but the ball is going to go straight down into the net. So I want to also lean forward so that the ball is really low, kind of near knee level. I'm then focused on meeting the ball out in front and brushing that outside of the ball. So if you look at the ball, and if you were to make contact and it's directly facing towards the court, you want to be hitting or trying to hit this outside edge of the ball. Specifically, you want to try to hit it pretty parallel. And since you're hitting it from a low vantage point and swinging outwards and upwards through contact, you're going to hit that ball over the net. If instead you hit the outside top of the ball, it's going directly into the ground. If you hit the outside bottom of the ball, it's going to shoot up into the sky. So in layman's terms, outside side of the ball is where you want to be making contact. As you brush, outwards and upwards. All that this motion is your paddle angle is staying at the same exact angle throughout the entire motion. Pointing that outside edge directly upwards throughout the entire motion, trying to create all of that side spin as you bend around the serve. So I'm bent in and then I'm brushing the outside of that ball, and it's going to kick out towards the side like that serve. And so the better that you can get at brushing the ball in comparison to hitting the ball, the more brush that you can get, the more spin that you'll be able to create. So remember, use this serve as a change-up. Don't use it for every serve, and it can be a really effective way to take advantage of the point early. That brings us to serve number 3, which is the screwball serve. With the screwball serve, we're getting the ball to bounce just like the banana, but in the opposite direction. So banana's going this way, screwball is now going this way. And with this serve in specific, since we can do a full arm motion underneath the ball, we're able to get way more spin than the banana serve. So that's why I rate this serve better than the banana. So for this specific serve, again, I'm using Eastern forehand grip. The further this way you go towards continental and Eastern backhand grip, the more spin that you'll be able to create. So you can experiment with that. But just to show you guys where my knuckle would be on like an Eastern backhand, it's right here. My paddle is completely open towards the sky. And so because of that, I'm able to get more underneath the ball. But this is what it looks like. As you can see, it cuts out. Just to show you another one. See if I can get some more spin on it. It's really kicking out towards the side. And that's the entire point of this serve, to throw your opponents off. Now this is another one, just like the banana. You want to use it as a change-up to throw your opponents off, get the ball to spin away from them. Don't use it all the time because then they'll get used to it. So now let's break down how we actually hit the screwball serve. So for this serve, I'm making contact on the ball on the inside bottom side of the ball over here. So just to show you what that looks like as I'm making contact, I'm over here on the opposite side of the ball as I would with the banana, and more so the bottom side of the ball as I cut under and brush. I'm starting with my paddle high in comparison to the previous two serves that we've talked about. Paddle is up here, and then I'm creating a roller coaster or a U as I come underneath the ball, outwards and upwards, and I finish on that non-dominant side. So what I like to think about is you're scooping a bowl of ice cream towards wherever your target is. So since my target's in that direction, I scoop the bowl of ice cream in that direction. I'm just simply scooping underneath it, and then I finish by pointing the very tip of my paddle towards where I want to go as I cut underneath that ball on this inside edge. So start up high, outwards and upwards, cut underneath the ball, and it spins out just like that. And if you can get really expert at this shot, you can get it to where it's landing right at the kitchen corner, just past the kitchen line, and it's just an instant point. So with this serve, use it sparingly. Remember, you can get a ton of spin on it. It's gonna make it so that your opponents at least give you a couple of points. And if not a couple of points, they're gonna hit it short in the court, instantly giving you that advantage on the point. The fourth serve to talk about is probably my most used serve, even though it's not the absolute best serve, and that's just simply because I haven't drilled the other one enough. But this serve is crazy effective for scoring easy points and keeping your opponents back in the court, and that is the power serve. And although it's called the power serve, it has an equal amount of spin than it does power. Otherwise, the serve simply wouldn't work. And so this serve looks like this. I'm jumping into the court, I'm creating a ton of power and a ton of spin to bring the ball back down into the court. And I'm utilizing my hip rotation, my legs, to generate that power from the ground up as it's released through my paddle. If you can get this serve deep in the court consistently, your opponents are gonna have a really hard time returning it. So let's break it down. This one's the most technical of the ones that we've gone over so far. So with this specific serve, we're making contact with the back bottom of the ball. And we're creating a ton of spin to bring that ball back down into the court. So back bottom, we're brushing that hair. Again, we're using that Eastern forehand grip that we talked about before. You can experiment with grips, see which one works best for your game, which one's giving you maybe more spin or which one's giving you more power if that's what's needed. But with this specific serve, we're gonna start by pointing our paddle face towards the side fence. This is gonna help us to come down the ramp to create that momentum and release it through our hand. So I'm here pointing the paddle face towards the side fence. I'm now going to drop down, pet the dog in this position. I'm acting like there's a medium-sized dog down here. My paddle face goes directly downwards. As you can see, it's facing towards the ground. It's not on its edge like this. So I'm here to downwards. And what this is creating is that ramp that it goes down to build that momentum. And then you're going to pull through the butt cap of your paddle. The butt cap is right here. You're going to pull towards your target and then relax your hand as you release through the ball in this outwards and upwards motion. So we come down the ramp, pet the dog, outwards, upwards. And this upwards motion is the most important part for being consistent, because I can hit with a ton of power, but if I don't have this upwards motion, I'm not gonna be able to keep the ball in. So if I have the upwards motion, now the ball drops into the court in comparison to if I don't have the upwards motion, it goes towards the back fence. And so all that motion is right as I make contact with the ball, I'm hitting and focusing on hitting the ball with my hand. The power is being generated through my legs and hips as I rotate through the ball and then release through the hand. And I really want to focus on my hand being that release point. So the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to relax it at contact. So it's bent back, and then I relax to this neutral position right here. Bent back as I pull through the butt calf, relax. And then I'm going to do a windshield wiper motion to create all of that top spin as I brush the back side of the ball. Windshield wiper, I'm coming from paddle tip pointed kind of towards the side fence / down to pointed up towards the sky as I follow through above my non-dominant shoulder. So it's an outwards and upwards motion once we come down that ramp and pet the dog. Pull, and then we release. And that pull is what's gonna create all the power right here. So it's an outwards and upwards motion. Once we come down the ramp and pet the dog, we pull through the butt cap as if we're pulling a rope, and then we go up. And we're brushing up the backside of that ball as a windshield wiper would brush water off your car windshield. And then we finish our motion. So now let's talk about what the legs are doing to generate all of this power. Now that we have this specific motion, we need to figure out where this power is coming from and how we can harness it. So I'm gonna come out a little bit further so that you guys can see my legs. But what I'm starting by doing is I'm pointing my front toe towards the net post, specifically towards the net post that's to my right side since I'm a righty player. And the reason that I'm doing that is because it's gonna allow me to be able to pivot off that foot and rotate into the court. My momentum is moving forward. If I instead just have it directly towards the side here, it's way harder to rotate towards where I wanna go. You're gonna lose out on a ton of power. So just start by pointing that toe, make sure that you're not stepping on the line as so many players do. Make sure that you give yourself enough distance. You're bending, and as you make contact, you unbend. So you're unbending through contact, and then you're following through with that back leg being brought forward in front of your front leg. And what gives you even more power is actually jumping after contact, which looks like this. So I'm actually jumping into the court. All of that's being released. And so I want you to actually think, I'm releasing the power through my hand. I'm releasing the power through my hand. So it starts in the legs, we bend. At contact, we stand. After contact, we jump, and we release it through our hands. So again, we're coming up here towards the side fence, pet the dog, pull the rope, outwards and upwards. We're brushing up that ball. All at the same time, we're standing and jumping into the court. So this is a crazy effective serve. This one's gonna take a whole lot more practice than all the previous serves that we've talked about, which makes sense because if you wanna have a really effective serve, you have to practice it. And the most effective serves are the ones that take the longest to master. And unlike the previous serves that we've talked about, this is a serve that you can use over and over and over again. And you don't need to change it up just because it's that effective. It's that hard to return every single time. No matter what your opponents do, it's still gonna come deep, it's still gonna come fast, and it's still gonna kick at them with a ton of spin. And that brings us to the fifth and final serve, the holy grail of pickleball serves, and that is the kick serve. I actually recently made a video about this serve and I called it the screw top serve, and I had people vote below with what they think the name of the serve should be. Screw top ended up winning, but I think that's greatly due to the fact that I was naming it the screw top, but the one that got second place was kick serve, and I think that that makes a whole lot of sense. I come from a tennis background, and the kick serve is where you're brushing upwards on the ball, and so because it kicks at your opponents while at the same time kicking out wide, it throws your opponent's timing off. And so this serve is really the mixture of a screw top serve and a topspin serve, because we're hitting it at such an angle that it's more of a diagonal spin on the ball. So this is what that serve looks like. I'm creating diagonal spin on the ball so that it not only kicks at my opponents, but it kicks out wide. Just like a screw top, I start high and then I'm brushing. And I'm focused on getting really low net clearance. And that's why I haven't mastered this serve yet, is because you end up hitting a lot in the net, but you need low net clearance because you're not getting a ton of topspin until the ball almost reaches the baseline and then it drops. And so if you hit really high above the net, it's just gonna hit the back fence. And honestly, the camera doesn't do this serve justice, because with a screw top serve, you're cutting underneath the ball and you're getting a ton of spin, but you're not getting a ton of power. This is not only adding power, but it's adding a kick at your opponents. So something that you definitely have to try for yourselves. It's absolutely blown me away using this in matches, but again, I need to get more consistent with it. So we begin by placing the ball in the same exact position that we would a screw top serve. It's going to be out from our knee and low, and my paddle is starting high. I'm then focused on hitting this inside bottom part of the ball, just like with a screw top serve, but I finish that motion with topspin. I'm coming up the backside of that ball. So I start high, cut down, and I draw that U. I scoop that bowl of ice cream under, and then I finish with topspin. Now, it's impossible to impart both topspin and underspin at the same exact time, but what's happening is we're getting diagonal spin. So the ball is spinning in this direction, so when it hits, that's why it's kicking at our opponents and kicking out. So we have the ball in this low position, I cut underneath the ball, and then I brush. And you begin that brush up just as soon as you make contact with the ball. Kind of as if you're hitting an inside out forehand. Inside out meaning you're hitting this side of the ball and creating topspin to get it way over to that side of the court. You can do this serve also on this side of the court, but keep in mind that it's going to kick this way and push them further into the court, which could be a good thing if you're playing doubles. If you're playing singles, probably not the best thing. So again, I'm up here, scoop outwards and upwards, creating that windshield wiper as I get the inside of the ball. And like I said, we have to hit with really low net clearance because it takes it a while to come back down since we're hitting with so much side spin and not enough top spin. So since it takes a while, I like to step way back from the line, about 4 feet. So some might think, hey, that'll give this serve away. It doesn't matter if they know that you're hitting this serve. It's still gonna be extremely hard for them to return, so long as you can do it consistently. So let me know in the comments below, do you like kick serve or would you prefer to keep it the screw top serve? Now I feel like I've had an equal amount of influence on both screw top and kick, so then we can kind of come to a conclusion from there. So now that you know these 5 serves, the best thing that you can do is to go out and practice them and perfect them. That way when you get into a match, you can hit these serves with change-ups, throwing your opponents off and instantly taking advantage of the point. And by the way, if you feel like you've been stuck at the 3.5 level for a very long time and you want to get unstuck, you just feel like you've plateaued, you can watch this video right here, which will give you 9 specific steps that you need to take to get to that 4.0 level. And it's literally as easy as watching the video and applying what is inside. And the reason that I know that it works is it's helped not only me, but it's helped hundreds of other players to take their game to the next level.